Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning these videos come, in the evening the MCQ lessons they are coming, and Mahipal sir is recording those lessons, but for the last 2 days I am recording those MCQ lessons there, so immense help is there. Today is 1st of January. Leave all the confusions behind, leave all the assessments behind. It is a race that is starting now, and the best performance of yours that you should bring. And you see, it's a kind of a time when fire breaks out, then everybody runs. They do not think that what is left behind and what is I'm carrying with me and all. They just run towards their safety. So here you have to run towards your goal. You all know that what you need to study, what you need to grasp there, and what you need to practice there. Your timetable is all set, and you just leave all the fears aside, and you just keep looking at your goal and keep running, because it is not the time to walk, it is time to run, and you have to run with all your efficiency and all your alertness. That's the thing. And day by day you have to become stronger and stronger, and every minute you keep this thing in mind that I need to do something in this minute. I cannot waste this minute. If this minute wise approach you will have, then you will surely succeed in your goal. That's the thing. So today's newspaper will be a short one, and these two numbers are given here. You can call for any query regarding the payments or any query regarding these courses. Okay, and the PDF you will get on Telegram channel. This link is given on this Facebook group here. You can send me the request on this Facebook group there. First issue, a very crucial and important issue. Finance Minister unveils plans for 102 lakh crore infrastructure projects. Center, state and private sector, all three will be sharing this capital expenditure. Why it is capital expenditure? Because they need to create assets here, they need to invest in businesses there for the further production, for the further economic cycle there. So it will be a capital expenditure. Okay, not the revenue expenditure. Remember that capital, revenue, two different things. We have this goal of a $5 trillion economy for 2024 and 2025. So 6 years are there in our hand, and this year will be included in that. And in these 6 years, 102 lakh crore rupees they are going to invest there. You see the division there. Energy, 24% investment will be coming into energy sector. Roads, 19%. Urban infrastructure, 16%. Railways, 13%. Irrigation, 8%. And rural infrastructure, 8%. So that's okay. But you see, some problem I see here, because out of around 100 lakh crore rupees, social infrastructure, health and education is getting just 3%. Health and education combinedly are going to get 3%, and others at 6%. So that's the issue. The formula for the center, state and private sector of this sharing will be 39 for center, 39 for state, and 22 for private sector. And if you compare this issue with the last 6 years expenditure here, then it's a huge thing, because just 51 lakh crore rupees were invested, or you may say this was the capital expenditure in last 6 years, and now this is just a double goal. On Independence Day, Prime Minister of India, he announced about this need of 100 lakh crore rupees expenditure for the $5 trillion economy goal. So that's very obvious now that a task force has been established, and that task force, chaired by Economic Affairs Secretary Antanu Chakrabarti, makes a plan for this 102 lakh crore rupees project. 18 states are the part of it, and national infrastructure pipeline they are calling it, because it will be surely a pipeline, because in a phased manner they are going to do these expenditures. This plan is all decided, the division is done for the various sectors there. Additionally, 3 lakh crore rupees projects will be added into this whole issue. So totally 105 lakh crore rupees expenditure we will see next 6 years. Large states, they are giving their data, and some bigger states are yet to provide that. Gujarat, West Bengal, Rajasthan, Bihar. So they will surely extend their plans, but all will be a participatory in that. That's the important thing. Okay, 6 years period, and the current financial year will be included in that. Here you see how it is a big task, because this plan calls for 13.6 lakh crore rupees investment in 1920. It's a humongous goal for this year. The private investment is stuck. They are not able to do any big expenditure. Public expenditure from the government side is also stuck. They are also saying that we are not having any revenue coming here, and the fiscal deficit is the huge issue, and inflation we can not ignore there. So the investment is very difficult. If you see the condition of last year's and last to last year's expenditure here, then last year it was just 10 lakh crore rupees, and the year preceding that, that was 10.2 lakh crore rupees, and we demand here for 13.6 lakh crore rupees at least. So how this gap will be covered? And this year's performance is way worse than these years. So we need to see, but they say that funds will be coming from a budgetary and non-budgetary, extra budgetary resources there. So they will be raised also from the market and internal accrual of the state-owned companies too. So maybe they will be arranging these funds, or maybe this announcement will not be realized into 100% reality, because many announcements we have seen in the past, but what is the outcome there? But it is about the numbers, it is about the expenditure there. So we are very much hopeful about that. In these troubled times for Indian economy, this kind of plan was necessary, and this plan may be working well, but we have to see. 24.5 lakh crore rupees are expected to be invested in power, renewable energy, atomic energy, and petroleum and natural gas. So it's a vibrant sector. Private sector is very much interested in this sector's expenditure there. So they have expressed their most interest into that. Other areas, roads, again a flamboyant sector. Railways, very important. Urban infrastructure, 16%, and 8% is the rural infrastructure there. And the irrigation is also an important issue. But you see, we need enormous investment in health sector, education sector, agriculture, and food processing sector. We need revolutions here. These are facing extreme level of distress there. But combinedly, all these will be getting 3 plus 1, 4% of capex there. So this is not justified, and we need a booming money coming into these health and education sector there. This is very much necessary for our demographic dividend issue, a healthy economy issue, a healthy population issue. Otherwise, these things will not be possible. Any goal will not be possible without the health and the proper education there, because the skilling issue is also associated with that. We have seen a big failure in the skilling sector because the education was not proper, and simple skilling is not appropriate for this industrial revolution phase in this world. So that's why we need enormous investments here, but we have to see how they are gonna take care about these sectors. But this is the big announcement here. Now the important article about the OIC issue. You see, when the present government came in 2014, since then they show it as a big achievement, and this has been critically acclaimed that the relationship between the Gulf countries and India is improved heavily, and the result was the invitation to our External Affairs Minister in March 19 in the OIC meet in Abu Dhabi. Even Pakistan objected for that, but we were invited there, and it was a kind of a breakthrough for India, because we had good relationship with KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and UAE especially. These are the leaders of the Muslim countries group there. So the 57 member OIC, we addressed our issues to that group. Why? We have a good population of Muslims in our country. Being a secular country, the population of Muslims is enormous in our country, and it's more than many other countries, many other Muslim countries there. So this was important, but the writer said that this was a kind of a miscalculation when we were very much hopeful and positive about the Muslim world out there, because in the coming month of June they appointed a special envoy on Jammu and Kashmir issue, and subsequently they issued several strongly worded statements on the government's decision to amend Article 370, Supreme Court's verdict on Ayodhya dispute, and the CAA Act now. And now the suspicions are there that Pakistan will heavily use this platform in April month when this OIC meet will be there. So Sushma Swaraj ji is no more there. When she attended that meet, then also some issues were there, like they were not compromising on their own stands there. Even they invited India, but their tone didn't change. And right now many issues have been there which are related to the Muslim concerns in India. So that is why this year there can be very offensive issues against India, many offensive statements against India's official stand there by the Muslim world. This is a big suspicion there, because this is happening in Pakistan and many leaders are giving these signals out there. Like, one issue is important. When Malaysia is taking this initiative and Turkey is also against the India's stand in Kashmir there, and openly it has talked about that. So a broader tussle is also visible between the Muslim countries out there. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and UAE, they are the traditional leaders there, still they are, but now challenges are there for their leaderships, because this time Malaysia, Indonesia, these countries are proposing Iran, Turkey and Qatar as other leaders, alternative leaders there, and they have actually given these signals that the hegemony of KSA and UAE, they do not accept this issue anymore, and they do not consider them only leaders of this whole Muslim world out there. So they are giving alternatives also. So it's a kind of a fissure, or you may say a tussle within the grouping also. And why it is evident to India? Because India has good relationship with KSA and UAE especially. We have good relationship with other countries also, but for KSA and UAE, last 5 years have been very good. So when they make statements against India's official stand, then it's a kind of a embarrassment for KSA and UAE also. So that is also a important development in this grouping and in the Middle East region especially. Okay, so we have to strengthen our ties with strategic partners in the region on both sides of the divide, without taking sides or becoming collateral damage in the internecine warfare. Means this is a kind of a undeclared rivalry, you may say. So we have to be nice, we have to be balancing with all the countries, with all the groupings there, and our religious worldview was the best, is the best, and in future it should remain the best, because many things are changing about India's international image there. We are becoming aggressive according to many assessments there, and now we have started taking some sides on the global platform. Regarding Israel, we have shown some partiality, and this is all the assessment of the strategic experts out there. In this grouping also, we have seen KSA, UAE, we are supporting a lot, but other countries are opposing us. So the neutral image is not as same as it was there before 5 to 6 years there. So a challenging time for India, challenging time for the whole world is going on, and these theocracies, how they see the India's condition, we have to be very wary about that. Means we cannot be extremely hopeful about all these countries, because we are a secular country, but they believe strongly in religion, and their grouping is very religion based. So that's why it's an issue. So important for GS paper 2, and we will discuss many more articles on this OIC meet there in April, or maybe before that. Next article, regarding the public sector privatization debate. V. Ranganathan and Bhama Shenoy, they are talking about many angles there, the kind of debate, the kind of complexity is there, and the kind of diverse views are available on that issue, and what government needs to do there. So these are important for GS paper 2 and 3 both. Here the writers, they say that PSU is a family silver, it is accepted by all. Now when you sell the family silver, what is the emergency? That is the first discussion out there. So 3 positions are available broadly here regarding this privatization motive. First, the left position. that PSU is family silver and should not be sold irrespective of its performance. Second, business is not the business of government. You see, it's all economic issue. These are bigger PSUs. They are managing their conditions on their own, and sometimes these businesses are so huge that interfering in their issues, trying to access the authority there, that's not appropriate. But here some reasons are there, and that's why government is bound to do something. They are bound to take some decisions regarding that. Next, why privatize profit making PSUs? That is the biggest question there, because they are adding BPCL to the list, and BPCL is a profit making organization till date. So why to privatize a profit making PSU out there? And it is the case with many other entities also. So these categories are undefined and they are confusing also. Further, he talks about the loss making units cases. Loss making PSUs certainly merit privatization. That's the best justification, because they are loss making. So why to keep them and why to waste our money on that, where with the privatization move they can perform very well. But you see, if they are certainly hugely loss making PSUs, then who is going to buy them? Sometimes it's a kind of an issue that government has to pay something to make them workable, and the privatization issue is very difficult for the government too. Means they do not earn much in that deal. So the Delhi Discom privatization issue is the prime example there, where government had to pay there. Now privatization will stop fiscal flows to these PSUs. So alternatively, there is the exit route through the new insolvency and bankruptcy code also. They are saying that if something is loss making, then we have a new setup of IBC code there, which is giving recoveries to the banks. Many companies are being liquidated here, and some handsome recoveries are possible after 7 years of struggle. So why not go through that route? But you see, the situation is not so simple. Here we have to talk about the complexities here. The issue of BSNL and MTNL, they are hugely loss making, and their losses are greater than their revenue. That's the apparent condition. They are coming into a certain category of value subtracting enterprises. Means if we support them, if we give them funds, then also they are not going to produce any result out there, because they are set up, their MDs, their chairman and all, they are majorly bureaucrats. They lack the business acumen there. They are not the service experts there. So the possibility is very bleak. Here, to sell them is the only option left. That's the different argument that BSNL alleges, that intentionally they have done this thing to us. We were going with the monopoly in this region, and we were the best performing organization here, and there was no problem. We still have the largest set of assets here, but intentionally the private concerns, they were supported, and this is the condition out there with the BSNL today. So that's the different aspect of the problem, and that's the different debate and the evaluation there. But if you see the conditions attached with BSNL, why it is at this stage, symptoms were there and it was making losses for the long period of time now. They could not privatize it in the past. Why? Because it was maintaining the military telecom network, and it was having the monopoly there. The image was the huge issue, and it was a very reputed organization, so they could not sell it, and that became a problem. If they would have allowed the private sector also in the military telecom network there, then the problem would not have been so huge. Now the present government has allowed the private sector in the defense area, and there is no problem for the private companies to maintain all these infrastructures for the military and defense setup there. So that's a better time for them, and we have to believe all these things, because according to these new decision makings, there should not be any problem. Opening up the defense sector for the private sector should not invite any problem out there. that we are expecting here. So that's why the privatization move is a better move here with respect to BSNL, MTNL and other entities there. Now they are at a stage where the political embarrassment is certainly there, means they are hugely loss making, and till the time any organization becomes a political embarrassment, the government does not sell it. Okay, because the people are attached with that, and thousands or lakhs of people, they are working under them. So it's a huge concern. So Air India, BSNL and MTNL, they should be an embarrassment for the government there because of their bad performances, but they are the embarrassment for the government when they have decided to sell them. That's the reason of embarrassment today. That's the bigger reason, and the bigger pressure is there that why government is taking these kind of decisions there, and a popular allegation that they are supporting privatization there, private corporates there, and that's why intentionally they are doing this thing to these PSUs. That's a parallel dialogue that is running there. So two types of embarrassments are there. One embarrassment is regarding the performance, second embarrassment when they are trying to sell them. So that's the issue. Otherwise it is very difficult to take this kind of decision to sell the family silver there. Okay, that's the issue. Now the biggest kick or the biggest factor for the disinvestment necessity is the fiscal constraint there. Today the government is running out of revenues. It is not able to compensate the states there, and obviously why this stage came, that is a matter to be discussed, but this stage is certainly there, and the economic slowdown is very apparent, and the corporate taxation cuts and many other issues are there where the government is gonna make losses in the revenue earning also. So the disinvestment is the only option left to earn some money for the government. So the fiscal requirement which is there, that now drives the privatization move and the disinvestment move, and it is the condition where in the last government Manmohan Singh ji said that if the PSU is making a profit and the competitive price is the output price and still the PSU is making a profit, then we are not going to sell it. There is no reason that the PSU can be privatized. But today the fiscal requirement is the bigger requirement, and that's why they are even adding the BPCL into that, and BPCL is still a profit making entity, but still they are attaching it in this list because the fiscal requirement is huge. That's the condition, and that is not a good condition. It's a very unfortunate condition. But one more argument is here. As I always said that in this issue, this matter is very complex. You cannot discuss this on one or two grounds. Many things are there. Here one more angle is there. They are attaching BPCL, but it is not 100% a wrong decision, because when you assess BPCL, then you cannot assess its performance. Why? Because in this sector a few companies were there like BPCL, IOCL, HPCL. They are having a kind of a monopoly in this region, so their pricings, they are not the basis of their evaluation. It's a meaningless idea to evaluate them for their pricing issue, because they had monopoly here, so the pricing is not important. Now they have not faced any competition. If they privatize BPCL now, then it will have to compete in the market, and the improvement will be there according to the writer. Okay, if you talk about other PSUs like Coal India Limited and Air India, Indian Airlines, they are inefficient. They also had monopoly, but they are inefficient. But IOCL, BPCL, they are efficient. They are very much efficient, but the improvement is possible with the privatization move. That's the argument here. As it says, BPCL is not inefficient, but its privatization still offers scope of improvement. When a company such as this has never faced any serious competition, it is impossible to even discuss the issue of inefficiency or efficiency. There is no comparable firm in the private sector to benchmark it with. So today no private company is at the level of BPCL, IOCL and all. They are the giants there, and they are having this monopoly. But now if they are going to be privatized, then this is going to be a big decision, and the scope of improvement is certainly there. Okay, now many things have gone by in the past. Administrative price mechanism was there, means the government was controlling the raw material price for the refineries and the marketing prices and all. They were compensating their taxes also. So it was all an administrative issue till 2002. In the recent time also we have seen some regulations there. So by this technical detail, they are telling us that improvement is possible with the privatization move. Okay, because BPCL was having this monopoly, but it did not show any innovation in this sector. It was not performing like a corporate entity. It had all the chance, it had all the capacity there, but it did not show much innovation there. So that's why it would be better to privatize this BPCL as a private entity there. Here in the additional slide, I have explained this administered price mechanism. From 70s to 2002, it was the mechanism where the supply of raw material to the refineries at the point of refining was done at the predetermined price, which was called the delivered cost of crude, and the finished products were also made available at the predetermined priced, called ex refinery prices. So this was all a administrative issue, means it was not running like a fair competitive market. So many things these PSUs have seen, but they have not shown any innovation in this area. So now the scope is there with the privatization move that they will show some innovations. But one most important issue is left here. If they are going to privatize them, then certain conditions are attached. Otherwise, it would be a big disastrous move. How? There is no point in converting a public monopoly to a private monopoly. Today, there is a kind of a public monopoly. These only PSUs are the giants there. If this same condition will be there with the private entity, suppose the Reliance company is there that buys the BPCL, and the same monopoly remains out there, that means the improvement will not be possible. Only the monopoly will be shifted to the private entity, and they will earn humongous profit there. So that condition they need to change there. Means if they are going to privatize these entities, then a fair market approach should be there. Privatization must be accompanied by competition in the post privatized scenario. Otherwise, it will be a disastrous move. Otherwise, if we are not changing the same monopoly condition, and if we are privatizing them, and then they will have monopoly over the price there, then that would be disastrous. Means they will only work for their profit, and their profit will be 100 times more, because they will have the monopoly. So this will not be of any use. So with the privatization move, we need to bring a fair market competition there, and these entities should compete like other simple companies. So that's the issue, and that's the necessary condition there. And that is why government will face a big dilemma here. Why? Because government wants money today. If they want a high price today in this sale, then they have to allow the monopoly situation in post privatization move for the private entities. Why? Suppose government wants a good price for the BPCL, and Reliance is ready to give that, but Reliance demands the monopoly. Why? Because Reliance says that I will give the government the expected price there, and that is very high price. But why I will give this high price? I will give this high price only when there is a chance that I will earn a lot after this deal. And how Reliance will be able to earn more? It will keep the price very high for the consumers. So it will be the monopoly of the Reliance that will make it possible. So Reliance would demand the same monopoly there. But as in the first paragraph, we have seen that we cannot allow this monopoly to the private entities. Otherwise, it would be a disastrous move. Today, PSUs are there under the government. So whatever monopoly is there, whatever price is there, it is with the government. Tomorrow, the Reliance will earn that whole profit there. So if government wants a high price in this deal, then it has to allow the monopoly. Otherwise, government has to be content with the low price there. So it's a kind of a great dilemma. Today they need money. Government is running out of revenue there, so they need the financial support there. And with the disinvestment process, with the privatization process, they are expecting a lot of money here. But if they are expecting more, then they will have to allow the monopoly to the private sector also, and that would be devastating there. So that's the problem. One more issue is there. If BPCL is attached in this category with this particular explanation, then they should privatize IOCL and HPCL also, because they are also on the same level, they are also profit making, and these things can be there with these entities also, but they are touching only BPCL. So what is the bizarre reason for that? That is to be explained here. And the issue of national security that they attached with that will not be a big problem here. Why? Because in Europe we have seen the private companies are having their strategic petroleum reserves, so there is no issue of national security there. And the same approach can be applied to India also. If these companies, if these PSUs are privatized, then they can own these strategic petroleum reserves. There is no problem with that. It will stay in India only, okay, because these are the Indian companies there. So that's why it will not compromise India's national security. If this is in the hands of any foreign entity, then that can be a big problem. But today it will not be any problem, as the writer says here. And the issues of LPG kerosene subsidies, they can be managed with the direct benefit transfer issue, okay, as we are managing it right now. So it will also not be a big problem. So both things are going on, means all the conditions are there in the support of privatization, but some conditions are attached here, okay. So neither he talks in the favor of privatization, nor he talks in the opposition of it, okay. And by these details he is explaining that they had their chance, they could show some innovation there, and they could invest their capacity in the past, but not much innovation we have seen, okay. So they had exhausted their chances there. So that's why it is on the government now how they are going to implement that decision and how they are going to justify all the conditions here. This is a very important issue for GS paper 2 and 3, and we will discuss other things tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani.